Hey there, fellow marketers. Professor Wolters here, and today we're here in Rwanda. And today we're going to talk about are some of the ways that companies can get their new products into new global markets. And what we're going to kind of look at is adaptation. Like, do we need to adapt our product, or do we need to adapt the language or communication system we use, or a combination of both, or can we just do the same thing everywhere? And so I kind of want to go through these four different ways we can go into a new market, okay? So one thing you might see is what we call a straight extension. This is where you can use the same communication strategy and sell the same products as you do in your home market. So, for example, you always see Coke and a smile kind of commercials everywhere around the world, and Coke tastes pretty much the same everywhere around the world. The Big Mac meal, Big Mac, fries, and a Coke, that's something that they sell in the US, they sell here in Rwanda, they sell all over the world. That McDonald's kind of feel, you have that. And so when you're introducing a product that doesn't really need to change much for the environment or change much for the language or change much at all, usually just going to do a straight extension of your normal product, okay? Now, sometimes, though, you might need to do what's called a communication adoption. Okay, here, basically what you're doing is you're selling the same product at home, pretty much the exact same product, but you might need to change how you sell it or how you advertise it or how you communicate the value based on differences in that culture. It could be the language barrier, it could be a cultural barrier, all kinds of like legal restriction of what you can and can't say in commercials. These kind of things can really influence you. Because think about it, there's the old song, what does the fox say? Well, what does the cow say? I mean, think about it. If the cow says moo in your country and says mew in another country, well, how can I use move on over to cow's the limit? Well, if moo isn't spelled the same way and the words aren't the same, you do have some issues. And there are some funny stories with these, like the Chevy Nova, was a cool car, and the Chevy Nova exploding star, that's so cool. But in Latin America, it didn't sell very well because Nova means doesn't go. I mean, are you going to buy a car that's called doesn't go, or a sandwich called tastes bad? Of course not. So you do have that. So you might need to adapt the communication strategy. That's why it's called communication adaptation, okay? Now, the next thing you might see is what we call a product adaptation. Here, we can use the same communication strategy at home, no problem there, but we might have to just adapt the product itself. And so it might be that we're developing these products that are really tailored more for that market we're going to. So this might be, for example, Ford, okay? They sell cars all over the world, but the commercials you see for Ford around the world are pretty similar. So the communication strategy, what they're going to focus on is Ford toughness and Ford quality. We're going to keep that same communication strategy, but when we're selling our cars in, the UK, well, we need to make a new product, right? Because we have to put the steering wheel on the right side of the car, not the left side of the car. So we're adapting that product. And hence why it's called product adaptation. And then you have what's called dual adaptation. This is where you might find that your communication strategy used in your home market and the products used at your home market don't really fit with the market you're going to, or maybe you see another opportunity out there for you to maybe have a whole new kind of product and a whole kind of new communication strategy. I know for me, when I moved to Germany when I was younger, I was surprised because I was used to Levi's being like your dad's jeans, and Levi's is, the stuff you got, because it was a tough jeans kind of stuff. And so they were like, $35-$40 at the store, and there was nothing fancy about it, just straight, the 501s kind of stuff. And then I moved to Germany, and like the Levi's jeans were different. We got the twisted ones where the seams are different. We got the fancy ones, and there's like all these different Levi's jeans I'd never seen before. And the communication strategies, the advertising was totally different. It was like hip and cool and stuff like that, not the rugged Levi's kind of thing. And you'll see that sometimes you need to do that adaptation, because the dual adaptation, because that's going to help you be more successful in that new market. And the thing is, you'll see companies maybe do for different products in their product portfolio, they might do different things for different products. Sometimes, hey, you know what? I can sell that Big Mac the same way all the time, but maybe in another place, I need to change up my chicken sandwich, maybe make it a bit spicier, for a spicier market. So we kind of think about those things. So I hope this helps you understand some of the different adaptations that might happen when you go into a new market if we focus on product and communication adaptations. So I hope that helps you out. If you're studying for an exam, good luck on your exam. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye from here in Rwanda.